Hello, my name is Sam Creviston, and this is my BattleBuilt web app project. I built this primarily with TypeScript, and so I guess jumping right over here a bit to the README as I describe this, it is theirs. But this site, BattleBuilt, is a deck building app for Pokemon, Magic the Gathering, and soon to be other card games as well. But it essentially you is allows you to build a deck, list out the cards in the deck, and the strategy for how to use that deck. I think that's one of the really fun parts of deck building strategy games and turn-based games here is simply optimizing the deck for the best performance. And so this is a website to aid you in doing that. I built it, as I mentioned, primarily with TypeScript. Wanted to do it as a web app because I love web development. That is what I want to do always, and so I wanted to compare it to JavaScript, see its differences, and understand more of its potential. And so in doing so, there's a few ways that I used it. I wanted to make sure to try to generate as much as I can from the TypeScript into the HTML. So jumping right over here is a partial loader TypeScript function. This function here will this loads the header and the footer partials. So those are instead of having it typed out in every single HTML file, I simply have a reference, or I guess an ID of header and footer in, excuse me, each of the HTML files, so that the partial loader function takes care of sending the same header and footer to each page. And so that was fun to do here, and insert that into the page. Then going on here, we have a function for essentially the Dex page and a Dex service. I'll jump into that here in just a second, but I figured I'd show you here what the deck page looks like. So on my home here, you can go and view each of these decks that I've pre-made here. So for example, the Pikachu Lightning Rush deck, it lists the cards, states the strategy. Really simple right now. What I want to do, and ultimately the stretch I want to do with this, and the next step is going to be implementing the Pokemon TCG API, and there's likewise a Magic the Gathering API that will enable the site to list all each card and its data. And I know for the Pokemon one, and I believe for the Magic the Gathering one, show the images of the actual cards, so it can be a whole lot more interactive, and I also make some fun animations with that, but make it a very useful tool to actually see everything in the deck that you've built. And so that is one of the next steps here. What helps manage the display of all of these decks and listing them out on the deck page is this deck service TypeScript file. And so this deck service, I created a class, and so I wanted to practice and implement a class with TypeScript. And so this handles the populating of all of the deck data from the actual JSONs at the moment. As mentioned, these are simply JSONs at the moment. The next step after I get the APIs working, I want to put this on a web hosting, on a service, so that I can then load it with Express, implement some server-side rendering, so to make it faster for the user, hopefully so, and but also just to really make it a whole lot more dynamic and powerful of an application, so that people can upload their decks with the deck builder. Something that I'm working on is so that people can build and publish their decks. So I want to move it from a static to one of those sites, and that is really all I gotta say right now. But thanks for checking this out. I guess the last thing I'll show is I added a simple, cool search filter. So you can. This was fun to use TypeScript to be able to search through the data. But that is it. Thank you for watching.